First Things First is sponsored by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. I'm Jenna Wolf. We got a little Nick Wright, some Brandon Marshall, Kevin Wilds on a Friday morning. It is raining and cold and miserable in New York, but it is still Friday on the calendar, and we will definitely take that.
That's right. That's
great
right.
Games coming up this weekend. We're going to preview all of them, but we got to start with a great game last night. Thursday Night Football, Colts and Titans. Friendly little competition they got going in the AFC South. This was close in the first half, but Phillip Rivers and the Colts scoring 24 unanswered points to finish this game off, take home the W, and reclaim divisional supremacy. 34-17 was your final in this one. Nick, I'll start with you. You had the Colts going 8-8 this season. They're now 6-3. You think this team's overachieved?
Well, here's what I think about the Colts. When Phillip Rivers doesn't turn the ball over, they're a very dangerous team. Their 3 losses, 2 of them he had multiple turnovers. The other loss was a loss to the Ravens where he had 1 turnover, but the Ravens just outclassed him. So I think they can be a dangerous team, particularly when Darius Leonard's out there. And I think we have to give massive credit to Frank Reich, who the further away he gets from that Super Bowl championship in Philly, where he was the offensive coordinator, and the more we see of his teams and their aggression on 4th downs, their game plans, the more credit he retroactively gets for that aberration year Philadelphia had en route to the Super Bowl. So I do think they can be dangerous. With that said, they absolutely still could go 8-8, and I think the winner of this division goes 9-7. This was the best win of the season for this Colts team by a mile. They hadn't beaten a good team yet, and they put a beat down on a good team, particularly in the second half last night. So I give them credit, but this doesn't, add them to the championship contenders for me. But Brandon, when your guy Phillip Rivers takes care of the football, they're a hell of a team to play
That's
against.
right. That's right. And Jenna, I'm not surprised because well, this is one of the teams I picked to be my dark horse before this season because of Phillip Rivers. And when you look at last night, he played smart. And like Nick, what you said, you go back to that Jacksonville game, you go back to that Cleveland game, he made some really bad decisions. But his numbers aren't really bad when you look at it. And if you really turn on the film, he's not playing that bad outside of some bad decisions in a few games.
That was like 4
He
bad.
played smart last night. He looked really good. It's almost like Chris Ballard came down from the box and told him before the game, like, hey, buddy, if you don't lead us, somebody else will. And I mean, like, right now. Like, he was explosive. He was quick in his decision-making. The ball was coming out of his hand beautifully. So when you look at Phillip Rivers, if he continues to make great decisions, this team could be really good. Their defense is #1 in the league. They're playing really good ball. Phillip Rivers, make good decisions, and you will be right where you need to be at the end of the season.
Hey, Pep, can you put me on a 4 box, please? Because I want to talk to the entire team, which I consider part of my extended family. And you know what? When you guys have success, I feel like I have success. And that's sort of like what buoys the show. But there's a flip side to that. And I think we all have to sort of take responsibility for each other's actions. So with that said, it's kind of like when your kid breaks a window. You have to go over there with them and be like, hey, we're sorry. And because one of the teammates is really kind of like, there's something called take integrity. They refuse to apologize, but I will because kind of like that's my role on the show as the family. Yeah. So Phillip Rivers, this is a letter from First Things First. I'm not going to reference who said this stuff, but on behalf of the show, after another 300-yard game and making your team in first place, I'm sorry for saying that you were washed. I'm sorry for saying that they should have signed Cam Newton instead of you, and saying that you didn't believe in yourself because you took a job at a high school before the season's even started. And I'm also sorry for making fun of your bolo ties. Now, that's not necessarily Kevin Wilds who said any of those things, but on behalf of the show, I would like to offer my apologies. Anybody would like to add anything? Nick, if you would like to add anything, go ahead. That's the apology from the show.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
When that letter gets sent to Phillip Rivers, it's going to be signed by Kevin Wildes, by Brandon Marshall, by Jenna Wolfe, and that's it. I apologize for nothing. And I want to be on the record here. Because Phillip Rivers has led the Colts to, let's go over the list quickly, wins over the Vikings, the Jets, the Bengals, the Lions, the Bears,
right.
who I was wrong about, I will
13-27 and 1.
and the awful Titans defense does not remove any of my concern or criticism. When I say if he takes care of the football, they're good, Jenna, it's true, but I don't think he's going to take care of the football consistently. And so I apologize for nothing, Jenna, for nothing.
Well, he's right. He's
I don't
he's
think
right.
anyone thought
he's
you
right.
would.
He's right. The wins that they got, 13-27 and 1 against those teams. That's those teams' record. And moving forward, the rest of the games is against teams that are above 500. It can be scary, but if he protects the ball, Nick, if he protects the ball, this team can be really good.
Let's set the Colts aside for a second because we should talk about the once red-hot Titans. They were off to a blazing start. They have since lost 3 of their last 4 games. They now have the Ravens in another matchup with these Colts coming up next. So, Brandon, I'll ask you, have you lost faith in the Tennessee Titans?
I have not, because of one man, Coach Vrabel. This dude, outside of Brian Flores and McVay, where we talk about next level coaches, he's right there. He's next level. For that reason, he can turn this thing around. He gets it. Let's go back to last year and looking at what made this team really good. They played really good defense. They ran the ball, and play action was working for them. It's similar to what the Cleveland Browns figured out this year, their identity. But when you look at it now, that defense isn't so good anymore. They need to figure out how to stop people. Right now, they're trending in the wrong direction. But I believe Coach Vrabel can turn it around. If it isn't him, then it isn't anybody.
Well, unless Vrabel's going to line up and play his old middle linebacker spot, I'm not sure how he's going to turn it around. The Titans' defense stinks, and Ryan Tannehill, it was not his fault last night. They got a punt blocked. Goskowski is not good anymore.
Teams, yep.
Missed field goal. So they had a lot of issues. I'm not putting this on Tannehill. But the whole, remember when we were putting up graphics, it's like, wow, Ryan Tannehill's last 16 games. It's Aaron Rodgers' prime MVP season. He's now gone back to being what he is, which is an above-average NFL quarterback. And if you just have an above-average quarterback and a bad defense, in the modern NFL, no matter how great your running back is, you're not a real contender. Wildes, going into the year, I said the AFC had 2 title contenders, the Chiefs and the Ravens. That list has been expanded to 3 because Brandon's beloved Steelers obviously deserve to be in it. But before the year, during the year when they were 5-0, or sitting here today at 6-3, at no moment have the Titans been a true championship contender, and I still feel that way, Wildes.
Yeah, I heard someone say, we always talk about offense, defense, and special teams. And I'm like, no, we don't. We don't talk about special teams at all. And so the game was a little bit of an aberration because the Titans put in this new punter. And Jenna, you know I'm a sentimental guy. I love, happy stories. This one kind of played out the other way. Look, former Volt punter Trevor Daniel was driving for FedEx for Titans when GM John Robinson called him to come in for a tryout. Dropped off 2 more packages, drove to the facility. Well, how'd that play out? Not great, but it's not all his fault. You're pinned in the end zone, so you hit a 17-yarder, and then this one gets blocked. I don't know what you're supposed to do. Are you supposed to spin around and head upfield? Not blaming you. And Goskowski, look, he's won them a few games too, but it's probably an issue. I just don't know what they do. You get rid of Goskowski, so they play in 13 more days. So I think if special teams just plays adequate, we'll have a better sense of who the better team is, Jenna.
And look what we just did. We just discussed special teams, buddy. You got it in there. We did it. All right, moving on to America's Game of the Week. And Russell Wilson finding himself in very unfamiliar territory, an unfamiliar role for Mr. Unlimited against the Rams. That's next. First things first.
He's been here before.